Hello everyone, I have created a POC on code modularization. Um, Let me go to the code. So here, as we all know that whenever a big project is created in Spring Boot, there is a lot of structuring is needed. This code modularization is around that area only. So what I have done is we know that we have a controller layer and service files exist. Then apart from that, when the mappers and validators are needed, we write that in different classes under service folder, right? But instead of that, what we can do is we can create another package called mapper and for all the mapping codes, and for any kind of validations are needed, any checks are needed, that instead of keeping into some classes under service package, we can create a package name as validators and put those validations here. I'll walk through. For example, here what I have done, the controller is under controller package, the service class is under service package, and all the mappers are under mapper packages, and all the created a validator classes and kept it under validator packages. So how does it work? uh, like for example, in the services, if I want to do any mapping operation or any validation operation, I might write that here. But instead of that, what I'm doing is I've created these validators and I'm just calling that validator class to the service um package and calling that, so that line of codes are getting reduced. Okay, first I'll walk through how I have written the code. So this is the controller. This is a very basic dummy project, which is basic controller I have created, and this is the get in get data means post endpoint I have created, and this submit button is submit method I have created. Inside that, some validators and some mappers I have written. This is not realistic scenario. Like in the realistic scenario, we have a lot of coding and a lot of conditions or logics, business logics are there, or technical stuffs are there, right? But here just to showcase how we can put the validator methods in differently and mappers differently, I have created two validators, like two checks and two mapping operation. So let me show you the data model, that is the request input. So data model is like name and age, I have put it a very basic one, and the response will be the result. That's a string. So this controller I am expect from the post mapping, post endpoint, I am expecting this data model as an input, and doing this validation, and then mapping I am doing, and that data model I am returning back. So this data model will be the response as well. Okay, so if I go through this name validator, what I am doing is I am doing a check whether that the name should only consist one or more alphabets, like it should only have the alphabet no special characters or numerics are allowed. So that way I'm doing the filtration, that check if name is not empty. If it is not empty, checking its regress pattern, that is only alphabets are allowed, and if it matches, then okay, otherwise a default runtime exception I'm throwing here. This is runtime exception, but obviously you can, in another tutorial I have explained in detail about the exception handling, your custom exception handler you can create, so that also you can pass here. For this POC I just used inbuilt runtime exception method. Okay, so I'm throwing that as an invalid name, and if the name is not there, I'm throwing that name is missing. Similarly, for another validator, we have age validator. In the age validator, I am checking if the age is between 18 to 100. If it is below 18 or above 100, then this rejects pattern is for that. Like age should be 18, between 18 to 100. If it is not matching that way, then it's an invalid age. Okay, this is about the validators. Now I'll go to the mapping. If I see here mapper, the mapper, how I'm doing is a default mapping. Like if age is not provided, or even if it's provided, I want to do a remapping of put a default age as 15. So whatever data will come, I'll set the age as 50 back. Okay, in real life it can be another mapping. So here it's like this much line of code, but in real life there could be like 50 line of or 30 line of codes obviously. So that level of mapping we have to do. So those mapping, if you kept in the service packages or create multiple class for it, it looks very tedious. So better just create another package as mapper and put the create, and you can create multiple mapper classes inside it and do individual mapping, which make the code looks very clean. Okay, so this is one. Another is multiple name mapper. So whatever name is already there in input, I am adding one more name into it and appending it, like doing concat operation with uh, comma string. Okay, to understand this better, let me run the application. This is strange. Let me do Maven clean install. Okay, build is successful. Okay, let me run this demo application now. So yeah, it's running on 8080. Now I'll go to the postman. So the curl command I have already provided in the readme file. Here the curl command is present. Okay, so let me hit this, like Komal and name is 30. So these are valid inputs, right? Komal regress pattern is matching and age is between 18 to 100. So therefore the output you got as name as, okay, the name is as Komal, comma admin. So the mapping I have done, right? The whatever. So what I have written here in the mapper for the age default, for the name is whatever name you get, concatenate with comma and concatenate with um, uh, service. Concatenate it with the admin. I am sending it from here. So that's why it's returning as Komal admin, and then age is 50. Like whatever age you will get, whatever age you will give the input, it will come out as 50. For example, I have given here something as uh, Sunita, and age is as 70 maybe. So there also you will get this Sunita admin, and then age also you're getting 50. So this is the happy scenario. Now let me, and this is the mapper I have showed you, right? The how the mapper is working. So code has came to this service layer. From the service, this both mappers executed. Name has converted into whatever name you have given plus comma admin, and whatever age you have given, it will be override with the 50 age, that is the default age. Okay, now let me show you the test case for this validator. So what is this name validator is saying? If you do not if you do provide any other than alphanumeric, like some numbers I have provided with alphabets, then let me hit it. See, you got an error. If I go here, it is showing me invalid validator age. See, it's invalid name, so it's coming as invalid name. I've given runtime exception, so I got runtime exception. We can handle this with custom exception. Whatever you want to throw, bad request or whatever, you can just alter it that way. Now let me put null here. If I put a null here, then it will again throw me the error, and the error is name is missing. See, so I have written the code in a way that if it is empty, just throw that name is missing, so it is coming here. Let me clear the logs. Now I'll do the age validator. Age validator says that age should be between 18 to 100. Now let me give a right name, and incorrect, like I'll give 0 age. So if you see again, it's a error, and if I see in the console, see invalid age, that's what I'm throwing here, invalid age. So this is working fine. Okay, now let me go to the next part of the video, that is how like one way is like directly you can create this mapper and validators methods here, and in the service you can auto wire those classes and use it in your services to clean up the service code. Another is what I have done is I've used bifunctional and functional coding style. See, I've created iMapper, iValidator, and iMulti mapper and an orchestrator. So this orchestrator is doing. So I've created one validator. So these are the interfaces I've created: iMapper, iMulti mapper, and iValidator. In the orchestrator, these methods are there. See, validate, map, and the map is for I multi mapper. So if I go to this line of codes, for example, here this validate I validator is there. So what is I validator is doing? It is a consumer type. So whatever so I have extended this I validator with consumer, which will adopt all the properties of consumer. So that's why if I go to any validator here, see, I have extended with I validator, and I'm expecting some data here. So it is a generic type R. So I'm expecting some data here. So here I have sent as data holder. I can send any other, I can put any other um, property also here. So because that's a generic type, so this way you can use it. So as we know that except all that consumer already have a method. Let me go and show you. If I go inside consumer, there is a except method already there. So I've just overridden it. So here I have override it, and then except method, whatever way of functionality I want, I have written that way. Similarly, this name validator is the same way. I validator data holder I have put, so that's why the input is data holder. Then accept, so consumer accept a value but does not return anything, so that's why it is void, right? And the validation is here. So that's why the consumer is used, because it accepts a value but does not return anything. So this is a way like using the concept of polymorphism. One method, that is iValidator. This iValidator interface is used to show multiple behaviors like age validator or name validator, and we are overriding to implement those behaviors. Similarly, this iMapper is there. So mappers, we know that we need some input, and we also need to return back some output. So that's why a function I've used. In the iValidator I've used consumer, but in iMapper I've used function. So this function is expecting an input and expecting an output as well. So if I go to its usages, if you see here, I have done for all the mapper like default age mapper. I have used iMapper, that is input is data model, output is data model. I can change this to string also, and then that way this will change. So this is just simply input output. You can change it, and that way the coding will also change. Here if I some string I want to return, or maybe data holder dot get name, so it's working, right? So this input output is the generic one. You can change it the way you want to make it work. Okay, this is the default age valid mapper. So this is consumer function we have used. One is the consumer in iValidator, and function we have used in iMapper. Similarly, another experiment we have done is iMulti-mapper, that is bifunctional we are using. Why bifunctional? If you see here, what we are doing is we are passing a data holder and another string also. So earlier what was there, the input data parameter is only one parameter. There are not two arguments. So one argument is there and one as return type. But here there is one argument as input, another argument will be another input. So though two parameters or arguments are allowed. So that is why this is bifunctional we are using. The reason we are using, so in the cases in mapper, let me go to service. In the cases in mapper where you want this two input, like everywhere, let me revert the changes I have done in default age mapper. Okay, so whatever yeah, everywhere you see the input is only data holder here. We can validator is fine because it is consumer. For mapper it is functional, so we are inputting data holder and returning, getting return back as data holder only. But in the multi this bifunctional one, we are sending data holder, and also we are sending one string like as a name, which in your case it can be something else also, and returning and expecting a return of data holder itself. So I have not stored the data, but I can do that as well. So you can tweak all these logics. These are the three experiments I have done, but you can tweak and create multiple kind of imappers or validators as per your requirement, by changing the things in orchestrator. Here I have, what I have done is like I am doing the accept, and then I am sending. So I validator whatever input I am sending, the same is returning back, and that there is no return type is there. Here I have send a return type. Whatever I am receiving, I want whatever I am receiving, I am putting an output of the same value. And here whatever I am receiving, that this I receiving is dot 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 r is there. So multiple inputs are allowed, that is 0 and 1 I have taken. Similarly I can do third index also, so that's what I can do. But this data holder I've hard coded here, so I can change it to string. So in the by in I multi sorry in I multi mapper, if you have seen, the data holder is the return type. It is because I have hard coded it here. So data type I have written, I have hard coded there. This is the a lot of experiments can be done, and multiple type of um, uh, interfaces we can create that can be used for mapping and validations. So third thing I want to share is, see here, this yes, we do not want to create this, we can like we what we can do is like we do not need to create these interfaces. We can directly make the methods and auto wire it and use it here. That was the first step which I said, right? But the reason this I validator and map is good, when you want to do a functional programming, if you want to write the code in one single line, you can tweak this I validate and map methods and use it in your functional programming by writing in one single line. That also we can do in some another video. Okay, I hope it was clear. Thank you.